Hello my friends, HM here. This video is about the attacks that Ukraine has carried on successfully in the last couple of days, but also in previous months on Russian oil and gas infrastructure. We'll take a look at some of the video footage of the latest attacks, and then we'll discuss what kind of drones that Ukraine is using, and then I'll also talk a little bit about the strategy that Ukraine is implementing and how it can develop in the future. So if you find that interesting, keep watching. Okay, but let's play this video here, the first one. And what you can see here is that there's a fire already burning, a big fire. This black smoke here is definitely another drone that has hit the refinery and already caused a big fire. And you can see the drone flying up here. And here is a second fire, but it's smaller. So two drones have already hit the site. And the third drone here is coming in. Then it makes a turn, so it flies over and makes a turn. That makes me think that it's controlled by video stream from Kyiv, and they can see the site as they are over it live. And now it's finding the best target it can hit because of that. Had it been GPS, it would just have flown in straight and then hit its GPS coordinate. But now let's see it. And you can also hear small arms fire. That's important. It's really... Okay, here it comes. And it hits. And here comes a bang. You know, I counted like 5-6 seconds there. Each second can be 1 kilometer if you want to measure the distance from where this is filmed and from where it actually hit. So it was a big explosion, and the payload or warhead of this drone must be big. And that also makes me conclude what type of drone was used, but I'll get back to that. But let's see more footage. Now, I want you to take a look at this still here from the video we just saw. Here we have this drone that actually hit and the explosion from here. Here we have a picture of what this refinery actually is. This is a column where diesel and gasoline are distilled. They're filling up this container here with crude oil, and then they heat it up under pressure, and then at different levels they can distill different kinds of fuel products out of this column. And that's a key part you want to hit when you hit a refinery, because it's the heart of the refinery. It's also very difficult to repair. If you just hit a fuel tank, well, there are hundreds of fuel tanks on an oil refinery, and you'll only hit one, and they're constructed so that the fire from hitting one fuel tank and all the oil that will flow out and burn, it will not start a fire in the fuel tanks next to it because it has been constructed that way. But this one, if you can hit this, then you can shut down the refinery for a very long period because it's very hard to repair. So this is what you want to hit. You want to hit these columns, and the next video I'll show you here, they're hitting exactly that column. And here it's not hit, but they're flying in another drone, and that's what we're seeing in this next video I'm going to show you. Let's take a look at that. So here we go again. That's a new video. I think what we saw earlier was that this place was hit and this place had also been hit. So these are the two fires that are already burning. We can see a new fire here coming up, actually from these columns that we just had a close-up before of, but now it's obstructed because of this chimney here. But I think it has been hit one time here already, this column, because smoke is coming up from it. So here we can see actually 3 hits. And we also know that over here there was a 4th hit on this oil refinery. But let's play this video here. Comes, and it hits right on top of it. Let's play that one more time. Here it comes down, the drone, and it hits on top of it. You can also hear small arms fire, and that's important. I'll just stop it here. That's important because it didn't appear that this oil refinery was protected at all by any SAM system. So one of Russia's largest oil refineries is not at all protected by air defense systems. But let's see what happened to one of the executives of this company. Okay, I'll just show you the news here about this oil executive who suddenly died here. It says here from Newsweek, Italy Robertus, the vice president of Russian oil giant Lukoil, the country's second largest oil producer, has died suddenly at the age of 54, the company announced on Wednesday. The death of Robertus was announced in a statement on Lukoil's website. The cause of his death wasn't stated. This marks at least the fourth death of a top executive at Lukoil since Russia's war in Ukraine began in February 2022. And one would wonder if perhaps there is a thing that, okay, they get appointed to run the refinery, but if they are coming under attack or something by Ukraine successfully, then they're executed to state an example. Or perhaps some of the other executives just didn't agree with Putin's orders and expressed publicly that they disagreed, and then they got executed. Because that's how Putin is ruling his country. Everybody who disagree with him will get executed, or they will get tortured and executed. That's how Russia has become today, unfortunately. Okay, I want to show you exactly what was hidden in these attacks. Here I found a newspaper from Ukrainska Pravda. It says the security services of Ukraine attacked 3 oil refineries in Russia with drones on the night of the 12th and 13th of March, namely those in Ryazan and Kostovo in Nizhny Novgorod Oblast and Kirishny in Leningrad Oblast. Now I'll show you a map of where this happened. And now here we have this map. Here we have Russia, we have Ukraine, Kyiv and Moscow. The red area is where 2 of the refineries were hit and where it is confirmed that something exploded because of video footage from it. And up here in this Leningrad region, another refinery was attempted to be hit, but there's no images of it actually being hit, so it appears that Russia in that area shot down all the drones that Ukraine sent after it. But the attacks, the 12th and the 13th of March, was wider than just these oil refineries. They also attacked KGB officers in Russia, and they also tried to attack a big aviation factory. But again, at that site, it appeared that the Ukrainian drones was shot down, didn't cause any damage. So it was a very big attack. I read at one place that Russia said 76 drones were used in that attack over those 2 days. But let's take a look at what kind of drones that Ukraine has used. So I found a Ukrainian Defense Express newspaper here, and it says that the Russians believe that this drone called, there's a picture of it here, let's blow it up, we can see it lit up. So this is a drone, there's just a model of it, not really any good pictures of it anywhere, but you can see it has the exact shape of that drone that we saw flying in over these oil refineries. And it has also been used to attack this aviation factory, and it's called Liuchi UAV, and has a range of 1,000 kilometers. So that's enough to hit that oil refinery east of Moscow. It also says, based on previous statements of the Ukraine defense industry officials, the drone is believed to have a warhead of 75 kilo and operational range of over 1,000 kilometers. I believe that 75 kilo is the size of the warhead. That's a big warhead. But we also saw a very big explosion, and it has to be a big warhead, otherwise it doesn't do damage to these very strong structures on an oil refinery or other factories that they want to attack to do some real damage. And here we have a poster, let's blow it up, that shows all the drones that has been developed in Ukraine. And down here we have the thing here in mind, that's the biggest one they have. You can see here for scale, there's a man up here. It could also be this Mugin 5 because it has the same structure with a body here and then some wings that are with some pillows that are behind, but it has a warhead of only 30 kilo. Plus it's made in China. I think Ukraine has a hard time getting that kind of drones from China. Maybe they don't, because China don't want to sell anything directly to neither Russia or Ukraine. Definitely not Ukraine. They seem to be more friends with Russia than Ukraine. But I think it's this one, and also the Russian thinks it's this one. And it had this big warhead. So that's what I found here. But I want to go back to this newspaper articles by Ukrainska Pravda, because they have a nice quote here. It's a quote from an Ukrainian official in this defense ministry here. We are systematically implementing a well-calculated strategy to reduce Russia's economic potential. Our task is to deprive the enemy of the resources and reduce the flow of oil, money, and fuel that the aggressor directly uses in the war effort and the killing of the Ukrainian citizens. So that's, of course, a goal, to destroy the Russian economy. If you can destroy the oil industry and gas industry, you destroy a large portion of the Russian economy. I have found some other sources that shows the potential for Ukraine to actually implement this strategy this year. So in order to find out about Ukraine's potential to destroy the Russian economy by taking out all of their refineries, I want to go back to this map that we saw earlier, because this map shows all the refineries in Russia. It shows that if Ukraine can hit this red spot here, then all of the refineries that are within here, they are in the danger zone. They can be destroyed by Ukraine. And they already destroyed this orange spot down here. That was destroyed last year, and it hasn't been in operation ever since. But then again, of course, further out here, there are also refineries that's not within range of those 1,000 kilometers. Here's a measurement of how much that is on the map. But then I found another source that shows that Ukraine actually has an airplane that can also deliver 80 kilos of explosives up to 3,000 kilometers away from Ukraine. And here we have 1,000 kilometers. So if that's about 1,000 kilometers, then we can go further out here, 2,000 and 3,000. It's basically everything, apart from a few refineries out here in Siberia that is probably very small refineries because they only make products for the local population out there. That's not that many. Most of the population live right here. And so let's see that other article I found. It's this airplane here. It doesn't look like much, and it's a Ukrainian company that has been making these airplanes for agricultural use, where it's basically a plane that's used for spraying pesticides on the fields. But now it's converted into an unmanned aerial drone that can fly these 3,000 kilometers. There's a quote down here. They said their military contracts strictly limit what the company can disclose, but they said the Enterprise and another model called Discovery can be used for a wide variety of tactical purposes thanks to payloads of 300 kilograms and 80 kilograms respectively. So I presume that the 3,000 miles range would be for an 80 kilogram payload, which would be the same that this refinery was attacked with. And that's powerful enough to do serious damage on an oil refinery. And also they say one of the company's aircraft can cost between $150,000 and $450,000 depending on the model and configuration, which can include features such as anti-jamming system to counteract Russian signal interference. So I think a lot more attacks are coming also further out into Russia with these airplanes when Ukraine can't get into production with them, and it might happen very soon. I have more information that I found interesting about Ukraine's potential for bringing the war to Russia and destroying the Russian economy, and let's take a look at that. So I found an article here in Euromaidan Press. They have calculated all the attacks that happened in all of 2023, and they get 200 strikes. That was a capability of Ukraine, and here they have a map where they have put in all these locations. But what is the potential for Ukraine to attack deep inside Russia this year in 2024? I also found some information about that. Now, I found this article by Forbes that shows that Ukraine's capacity to destroy Russia will increase drastically here in 2024. It is this airplane here. Again, it doesn't look like much, but this is a game changer. It can be made for $15,000 and it has a range of 700 kilometers, which can go deep inside Russia and also cover all of Crimea. And it has a warhead of 40 kilo of explosives, the same as the Shahid, but it's actually cheaper than Shahid. It's also built of plywood. So tradesmen around in Ukraine can assemble it, at least the main part of it, and then it can be sent to a factory that can install the engine and all the electronics. So this could be a game changer. I have a few quotes here. Commenters have long asked, where is Ukraine's reply to the Iranian-made Shahid drone used by Russia? Now a new type of long-range strike drone from Ukraine is starting to hit Russian forces, so it's already being used by Ukraine. New images from Ukraine show attacks being launched with the new AQ-400 Skytche kamikaze drone made by Terminal Autonomy. What is really interesting here is that under a new contract, they are now delivering Skytche drones currently at a rate of 50 of those per month. but scaling up rapidly to around 500 per month by second quarter of 2024. So in a few months, Ukraine will make 500 of these every month and can hit Russia with 500 of these every month. Our goal is to produce 1,000 of those units monthly, says the co-founder Francisco Martins to Forbes. But it's not realistic to just do it that kind of scaling in just one quarter. If they can make 1,000 per month, that means that they can launch 30 of those drones every single day towards Russia. And that's pretty much what Russia is launching every single day towards Ukraine of that kind of drones. Then they also have some more heavy-duty missiles. But all in all, I think Ukraine is hit by about 50 drones and missiles every single day. This one alone can hit Russia back with 30 drones. And Ukraine has many other drones underway that will be scaled into mass production. Plus, I'm pretty sure if they can make 1,000, they can probably also scale that up to 2,000. It's just a matter of time when they can. So a lot more war is coming directly to Russia this year, and it's not going to be so funny for Putin anymore to wage his war. But let's see this video. There's one video here. So that's how it looks. It's not very impressive, but it doesn't need to be. Now, I could talk a lot more about drones that are coming from Ukraine and that are going to destroy the Russian economy, but I'm going to make a separate video about that is forthcoming. If you want to see that video, subscribe to my channel. And also, if you like this video, please give me a like. It helps in the algorithm. And if you have questions, I'm reading all the comments and I'll answer your questions. Anyway, this was my video. Thank you for watching it. I wish you a great life in freedom and democracy. Goodbye.